Alright, so while OBS connects to Twitch, which looks like it's going, take a drink, and who knows? It looks like it's live on Twitch, so I'm just going to go ahead and start talking like it actually is. Hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is November 15th, and this is the November 15th TextQuest Devstream. So, today I'm going to be messing a little bit with Pro Builder, which, depending on how well this goes, we may end up doing this for a while on the stream, or we may switch over to changing up how text is displayed, or rather how the input menu sort of shows a bunch of text. For the time being, we're going to go ahead and start with a simple model that I'm going to try to make in Pro Builder. Now, I've known about Pro Builder for a while, and it's something that I've been interested in. However, when I first started looking at it, it was way back. It was like 1 or 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago, actually, when a lot of their stuff was, it was fairly new, and their UV editor was kind of in like experimental beta phase, and it wasn't super robust, and was prone to glitching and crashing, and that just causes a lot of problems, obviously. Especially for me, where I have to do a lot of careful UV mapping to make sure that everything's legible. So since then, they've improved a lot of their stuff, and I would like to speed up my workflow by just having all of my mesh editing tools inside of Unity. It would make level design a lot easier. I wouldn't have to go over to Maya, LT, make some changes, export an FBX, bring that into Unity, retexture everything, blah, 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 blah. Don't have to do all that. I will be able to just sort of freeform design as I see fit, and that amount of speed will definitely help in the latter levels, because, as I've been saying for over a year and a half now, I have 4 more levels to go, and those last 4 levels are very dense. They're not like the more open levels that we've designed so far. They're not like the plains, which is just sort of an open space area with a couple of important areas. Not like the forest, which is more of a roaming puzzle area. It's not like the castle, which is a much more linear experience. They are meant to be a lot more urban, dense, sort of vertical and horizontal puzzle design. So, in order to facilitate a better sort of workflow, I would like to be able to use Pro Builder for that. So tonight we're going to be messing a little bit with it. I messed around with it a little bit yesterday. Not nearly enough to say that I'm perfectly comfortable with it, although enough to say I sort of grasp the basics of it. For the most part, it's similar 3D modeling techniques that I've been using, but at this point, it's kind of more about getting used to the workflow for Pro Builder. So the first task that I have planned out is I want to make a sort of duplicate model for the marble table in our castle and show you what that looks like. Actually, probably would be a good idea. Let's go ahead and go over to TextQuest and scenes, intro, castle. This is something I modeled out in Maya. It took a couple of minutes to do over there. So let's see, it should be over here. So this is the table that we're sort of recreating. It's nothing phenomenal. It's pretty simple. And all we're going to be doing is, making this exact same model in Pro Builder. So it's just a flat cube, or I guess it's a flat cube with 4 cubes for legs. Very simple. One of the simplest models I can think to do, honestly. And we're going to see how difficult that is in Pro Builder. Which, may or may not be a fair thing, and obviously this won't be the only thing that determines whether or not I actually use Pro Builder. But I thought that this would be a nice sort of intro thing to just test it out, see if I like the waters. Let's go ahead and go over to Pro Builder table. Let's turn off our castle table here. And let's go ahead and try to get modeling. Alright. I guess probably what I should do is do this so you guys can see my toolbar. Oh man, my windows are all different for Pro Builder. It's going to take some getting used to. So the main thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subdivide so I can get the faces for the legs. So let's assume that everything works correctly. Let's see, there should be subdivide edges, which looks like that worked, which is good. We're going to subdivide edges again. So now we have 1, 2, I think I need one more. And this is going to be really, really fun. Subdivide edges. Alright. So we basically are going to, let's switch over to vertex mode. And actually, before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and change my lighting to not use a skybox. I'm going to use sort of a Maya approach to this where everything's gray. That way we have a very, very easy to look at table. We don't have to worry about all the crappy UV maps. Because the UV2s are not set up yet, and this will be a lot easier for everyone to look at. Alright, so let's go ahead, grab these guys, and I think there's connect vertices. Hooray! So, you know, it's not too bad. I do like... Oops, crap, that was not what I wanted. Connect vertices. Obviously, I'm going to have to sort of get the workflow, because I don't like, you know, clicking and then coming over here. Connect vertices... I wonder if I can do this or not. Nope. Work with me here. Actually, let's go ahead and let's Command Z all of this, or Control Z. Curious to see if this will work very well. Alright. I'm going to try to select all of these in one row. Okay, and then I'll try connecting them, just to see if... Good. So I can highlight and select them all and just connect them. Connect. 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 Aha! Ah, dang it. False hope. Looks like that didn't quite do what I wanted. Fortunately, I can do this. Vertices. Vertices. There's a way to toggle on, like, select reverse faces or select hidden, but I have not quite figured that out yet. Alright. Let's go over to edge mode. So I've made those edges, and these are the edges that'll go front to back, obviously. And I'm going to try to grab... Actually, no, it's select hidden on right there. How convenient. Get rid of you guys. You guys. Can I just slide you? Oh man, that is actually super nice. Now the other thing is, can I do this? Ah, no. Darn. I wonder if there's a way to manually offset this. Because that's one of the things that I do need. Oh man, I do. It also preserves the UVs. That's very nice. Oh. My hat is off to the Pro Builder guys. They're very, very smart. However, this is kind of annoying. I will say that I have also noticed that it's kind of annoying trying to do precise UV work. Maya has that very, very nice snap to the UV position tool, which I don't think I found yet if it exists in Pro Builder. So we're going to have to experiment with that. But this is driving me nuts. Turn off this material so we can see everything. There has to be a way to like specify an offset. Because if not, I'm going to be incredibly sad. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything changes, which is incredibly unfortunate. And I will also go ahead and turn off auto lighting because it looks like that's breaking some stuff. Okay. Well, let's see if I have anything that I can do here. Select edge loop, grow selection, swing selection, select edge ring, difference. Oh, select edge ring is actually kind of cool. Oh, nice. They even have similar sort of workflows for Maya. If you double click on edge ring, it will actually select the entire ring. But this is a non-starter. Actually, you know what? This might work if I pair it with Pro Grid. Let's do the Pro Grids window. How nice. It is on. let's see. Let's do the snap increment of 0.2. I wonder if this will actually... Ooh, what the hell? Look at that. That does work very well. Okay, so I guess the workflow is you want to have ProBuilder and ProGrids on. That way, ProBuilder will, obviously let you adjust all. Ooh, what happened there? There we go. ProBuilder will let you adjust everything and build everything out, while ProGrids will make sure that everything's actually functional. So it looks like we're going to go about 0.4, 0.4 on the legs in terms of their square. All right. So not bad so far. Let's go ahead and let's go back to edges. We're going to select everything. And then we're going to subdivide these guys again. So we're just going to say subdivide edges. And I'm going to want, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4. Let's see. Uh-oh. Yeah, 1, 2. Yep, that was right. Leg space, leg space. Aha, good. Go ahead and close that. Switch over to vertices mode. And let's try to connect everything. This will probably take some getting used to. Oh, crap. This will probably take some getting used to, sort of getting used to the camera angles and the workflow for ProBuilder. But it seems pretty nice so far, which is kind of unsurprising considering, one, it's one of the few 5-star assets on the asset store. Yeah, for the most part, few large-scale 5-star assets. That's a very rare thing. You pretty much don't see that outside of like NGUI, and I guess ProBuilder. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch back to our edges. All right, so we're gonna go. Wow, they really do a good job of this stuff. They've really improved it from the last time I looked at it. Last time, so I looked like I said, I looked at it a long time ago, and it was, it was functional back then, but it is definitely way better than it was. Like, it's a lot less obtrusive. Before, it was kind of awkward trying to move around and look at things, and now everything's just very, very seamless. It's very nice, actually. All right. So that looks like the UVs are correctly positioned. I don't know what's going on with that. Guessing that's just a light mapping thing. I have not set up the UV2s yet on this, so it's probably going to look like garbage until I actually model it out. Although I do like having the texture UVs sort of still be visible. It's very nice. All right, let's go ahead and let's go to face mode. I'm going to grab these 4. Uh-oh. No, never mind. It just looked like that's a really weird distortion. I know that it's square, but for some reason it looks incredibly distorted whenever I look at them. And then we're going to extrude these faces, which are... I think I can just do Shift. Yep, there we go. I'm guessing that's about right. Okay, and just to be doubly sure, I am going to check with these guys. It's a little tough to tell, so I'm going to grab my castle table. Let's move it up just a little bit. Ooh, ProBuilder, right. Toggle snapping off. Kind of awkwardly like try to overlay them. Let's go ahead and move this over. Move this over. So it looks like it's a little short, actually. The legs are a little small, which might be fine. I'm not too worried about that. So we're getting some Z fighting. I'm guessing it looks like the legs were 5 by 5 then, or 0.5 by 0.5 then. Which is fine. And actually, you know what? I'm curious. Let's see how easy it is to adjust that, because that's part of an important thing. So let's go ahead, grab these guys, and let's turn snapping on, change it to 0.1. And can I just drag you? Wow, I can. That's super nice. Let's drag you guys. Ooh, that's a little annoying. Okay, so it does look like the UVs don't. I mean, the UVs actually look like they keep, but the edges don't keep, which is unfortunate. Okay, so now if I turned on the castle table again, it would. Yeah, hooray! More Z fighting, which means that it's basically a perfect fit. I'm guessing the only reason it's not is because of offsets. So, how nice. All right, so now to adjust the edges real quick, just to make them line up a little bit better. Let's try to do an edge loop here. Okay. It does look like. I mean, it does a really good job of selecting the edge loop. Same problem that really Maya would have if it tried to select these edge loops. Although actually it might be a little bit better than Maya, because Maya would probably try to select that as well, which I guess technically would be more correct, but hello. There we go. It's like, that's not good. Alright. Oh, I just realized that my marble is backwards on some of these guys. Huh. Okay, well, it didn't look like that before. That's interesting. Let's go ahead. Oh, stop that. Oops. There we go. This is actually pretty nice. Not too much of a workflow change. Means that, my modeling is super easy to do inside of Unity. Go ahead and go over here. All right. So just a quick sort of glance at it. Looks like that's all the UV stuff that I need to do. Super fun. Wow, that's like weirdly reversed. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's go to, let's see, there's a UV editor here. All right, and before I forget, let's go ahead and go to object mode. This is going to be somewhat awkward too, by the way. Let's see. Can I do an automatic project? Ooh, fit UVs is not what I wanted. Apparently it's not doing anything. So I'm guessing that this UV, or this blue box here, is at my actual UV 0, 0 to 1, 1 area. So that's kind of annoying. But more annoying is the question of why I cannot. Let's go over here. Okay. Is there a way to basically reselect these? Like, I would like to reproject the UVs, which would be nice, but I don't know if it will let me. Because fitting UVs evidently does not. Here we are. There we go. Okay, that was weird. I don't know why it... Okay. So table is here. Oh man, where am I going to stick this? I would like you guys to be able to see what I'm doing, but... super tiny. Can't really do much. Okay. And I need like some way of superimposing this when it's looking at something. I wonder if I could do that actually. Well, it is a utility video, so I might do that. Let me try something real quick. I would like to give myself more space to work, and I think I could adjust this so that you guys can see everything that I'm doing, even if I have it on a separate screen. So let me try, not the sources, add a window capture, UVs, okay, and let me try, that's disappointing. No, I guess the separate windows don't quite work. Unfortunate. Although I might have one more thing. Let me try one more thing. Let's add, I think I can actually do a display capture and change it to, nope, okay, it's not a display capture. There's a way to do this, damn it. There's a way to like actually select like part of a screen. It's not display, image, media source, scene. Interesting. Can't do. No, it's not window. Let me try one more. Media source, maybe. Nah. Damn it. Well, that's kind of disappointing. I know there's a way to do it, but I guess I just don't quite know which one it is. Oh well. Fine. I guess I'll tough through it then, or I'll tough it out then. So I'll move this back over here. All right. So it'd be nice. I don't know what it's going to do. I will say this is one thing that I have had trouble with. Okay, so these are the legs and the feet. I have had trouble selecting it. Like occasionally I'll just barely click off of it and then it like deselects everything. That makes it super annoying. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, see, like in that case. So let's go ahead and position these things as best we can. Select all these guys. And let's scale it. I think I can scale this to 0.5, way too much. 0.25 by 0.25. That's not bad. Let's set its rotation to be 0. So everything looks correct. I wonder if this has the same problem that Maya does. Nope, it actually seems to handle it pretty well. That's nice. Okay. So, looking at it real quick, looks like that's fine. So that's the legs. Let's go ahead and go over to the feet. Oh no. Okay. And this is also something that, I'm guessing this one's going to be 0.5, 0.5. A little bit larger even. 0.6. Nope, 0.7. So this is obviously something that I'm having trouble with in terms of the material itself. You'll notice that some parts of the material, like the sides, well, excluding the fact that they're actually kind of highlighted wrong. Let's see, which one are you? I would like it if it highlighted the face I'm looking at in the editor. That does make it somewhat hard to guess which thing I'm doing. Let's try to, can I do this? Okay, so I can do it backwards where I like to select these guys, but, and then I can flip the U. Okay, that wasn't my intent, but it like actually flips it. Okay, let's grab these guys. Flip the U again. All right, those all look correct. So like the sides where it says marble, for example, you can see that it's not really too bad. It's kind of, let's drag this over here for now. It's a little rough, but it's not really that bad when you're looking at it from a distance. But the table itself, ugh, it's so pixelated. And I spent an obscene amount of time last night trying to get a marble texture to procedurally generate in Substance, and I will do it. I will do it until the sky rains fire, or until I actually get it to look right. Because I know it's possible to make freaking procedurally generated marble textures, and I need it for the Magma River level later on. So I figured this was a nice little test case for that, but clearly the experience with Pro Builder is going way better than my experience with Substance right now. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab these guys. This is going to be fun. So I'm going to grab these, and I think I want to flip the U again. Yeah, that looks right. I don't know why those got changed so strangely, but they did, I guess. So the way I'm looking at it is this is what you're going to look at when you come into the room. Let's click off of it so you see it. So table needs to be facing you so that it's easily legible. You will read that, and if you duck under, because this is the front, then bottom should be facing this way. That way, again, looking at it from the front, it looks correct. Looking at it from the back, it's a little more confusing, but that's also because you're on the opposite side of it, and I can't make a substance that's like constantly shifting to face you. As interesting as that would be. Actually, that would be a... that might be interesting. That would be a good sort of inspiration for one of the later levels. Because I have a level later that's kind of up in the air, and it's meant to be a little bit more spooky. So something like that would actually be pretty cool. Anyway, so let's see. For the most part, yeah, that was pretty painless. Select this. I'm going to do a minor adjustment on the leg real quick. Just move this up. Okay, there we go. It was a little too close to the top, made it a little hard to read. So the foot, or the feet are correct, the legs are correct, the sides are correct, the bottom is correct, and the top is correct. That's pretty nice, actually. And we don't have... And that was all done in Unity with ProBuilder. Trademark. Okay. So, let's see. Now, the question here, this is something that I was looking into a little bit before the stream tonight. I'm not entirely sure how to actually make this an exported mesh. It might not be built into ProBuilder, which is not the end of the world, but part of the nice thing of having my meshes in a separate program like Maya is I can version control that stuff, and you know everything's not in Unity, which means if some massive file corruption happens, it won't completely screw everything, and I can just sort of re-import things. Now I don't think that'll happen. It's never happened, but then again, the worst things in life never have happened before. So, you know, being appropriately paranoid is part of being a developer, and I would like to be able to dump these things out to an OBJ. FBX would be preferable, mostly because of animation, which, oh yeah, everything's going to have to be animated in Unity now, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. I don't really do anything crazy with animation anyway. At least nothing that I don't think the base Unity animation stuff could handle. Certainly not with their, and you know, certainly that won't be a problem with their new fancy animation stuff that they're working on and their new timeline stuff. So, yeah, okay. So I'm going to, one last thing. Select this object, and we are going to go to generate UV2s. So this is going to be interesting. We'll rebuild all ProBuilder mesh UVs when invoked instead of just the selection. Oh, yeah, I don't care about that. I don't want to do that. I guess we'll see what this looks like. Okay, so that, I'm assuming, generated the UV2s. Let's go to UV2. That looks not terrible. I feel like it could be packed a little bit better. Of course, I can't really look at... Oh, that's... I mean, I guess I never really positioned these by hand before, but I mean, I can clearly see some space over here to the right, which... I mean, I think it means I could get some in there if I really tried. Let's try a pack margin of 2. Ooh, that did not... Well, it's not terrible. Oh yeah, and side note, it is actually interesting. You can export your UVs as, I think it's weird that it's a 256 image, but you can actually export these. So if you needed to bring them into, say, like Photoshop, you could actually do texture work that way. And now I don't need to, obviously, because I'm using a bunch of tile work, but, you know, it's a nice feature. It's something that a lot of people usually end up having to do is you Maya has a similar feature. You can export your UVs to a PNG that then you can bring into Photoshop. You can do some texture work, try to overlay it and line things up a little bit better, and then you can bring it back into Maya. And it looks like that's sort of the workflow they're going for here, which is, nice. Um, hard angle. Angle between neighbor triangles that were generated scene. Okay. Area error does something. Well, that's super great documentation there. I think I'm just going to leave it as is. This isn't terrible. I do feel like I could squeeze just a little bit more light resolution in there, but it's not super easy to see it, I guess. I don't want to go lower than 2 pixels on my packing margin. I like to have the 2 pixel spacing for just to make sure that light doesn't bleed through. It's a nice thing to have. All right, so let's go ahead and I think that's good actually. Let's go back over here just to get a feeling for things. I am going to turn on auto lighting again just to see how everything looks. Not bad. I guess I could also make this object static. Ooh, I didn't mean to turn it off. I meant oh, it is already static. That's kind of nice. Looks like ProBuilder makes everything static for you. I guess that makes sense. You're probably not going to end up using a lot of their stuff for non-static objects. All right, so let me think. This is something that definitely is going to be useful, particularly because the workflow it's roughly the same as Maya. Maya has a little bit more of an advantage in the like absolute positioning for UVs, but there's no denying the speed and ability to adjust things inside of Unity. Okay, but I don't like this. I don't like that I can't export it directly from. I thought there's a way to do that. Well, I'll have to look into that. And actually, one of the other reasons that I brought up ProBuilder, or I started looking at it again, is because I've been doing some vertex painting stuff with VF or what is it called? Vertex Tools Pro, and ProBuilder is actually making their own sort of brush tool. Bring that over here, called Polybrush. And it looks like it's going to do basically the same thing that Vertex Tools Pro will do, except it's made by the ProBuilder guys or the Procore guys, and it looks like it'll sort of have a better workflow with it. So it might be good to mess with. And I might end up getting that a little bit later at some point, just to see how things play out with it. Because it would certainly be nice to have that, that one sort of pipeline that I can work through all the Procore stuff, know that it works, know that they will all play nice together, and I won't have to worry about it. And that would be my cat wanting attention, like she does. All right, so let's see. Well, with that out of the way, I was actually expecting that to take a lot longer than it did, because last night I was just kind of fumbling with it. I could not get it to work the way I wanted it to, but that's also because I didn't have ProGrids on, so that certainly helps having that stuff. Okay. Let's try turning this into a prefab and then bringing it into the other scene. And see, this is also where it's going to get kind of weird. So I'm going to put this in test still. I'm going to rename this to Castle Table. Hit save. Now let's turn you to a test. Ooh, why can I not see it? Really? That might be problematic. Well, I guess we'll see what happens, because obviously the reference is still assigned here. So let's go to our castle and try dragging this in. I wonder if they have a specific workflow for this. I don't see anything off the top of my head that would make sense. So, I don't have anything. Alright, well, just real quick. Editors, selection, object. No, I don't see anything off the top of my head. That's kind of cool. They let you actually strip everything. Oh, interesting. They have a Boolean tool. Ah, there it is. See, I knew it. I knew they had it. So, let's go ahead and get rid of this. Well, actually, I guess we'll keep that prefab for now, because otherwise it'll break our reference. So let's go to Tools, Pro Builder, and it's Export Asset. I'm curious. What's happening? Oh, oh no. Okay. That's gonna take some getting used to. What the heck? Ah, there it is. I was gonna say, why is this not visible? I mean, it looks correct, and yeah, it does optimize it into a mesh renderer. Looks correct. However, this does raise an issue that I was worried about. So you can actually convert these things into a, or you can convert non-Pro Builder objects into Pro Builder objects. However, I don't quite know if that's what we would want to do. So if I drag this back into the scene. Oh, and you know what? This is something else I need to do. I need to change its pivot. Although this, well, let's try this. Let's go to Pro Builder Eyes. Modify all objects from meshes. Pro Builder, try to group adjacent triangles into faces, preserve faces. So it looks like I can do this if I really wanted to. However, the easiest thing to do, honestly, is just to save a bunch of scenes. So instead of having like one modeling scene, I guess it would sort of treat it like Maya, where you have Maya files, like an individual Maya scene for each model, which is traditionally how I do things. And then I just export that asset. That's kind of okay, I guess. Not the end of the world, I guess. Not quite the workflow I would prefer, but I'll live. Okay. So how do we want to do this? Well, I want to center the pivot, probably, I'm guessing, at the bottom center. So let's go ahead and go to Tools. Actually, no. Let's select this. I can center pivot. Can I adjust pivot? Is another question. 0, 0 it out. So it's not quite where I want it to be. Let's go to Tools, Pro Builder. Let's go to Geometry. And I'm guessing it's going to be Object. Can I... So I can freeze transform, technically. Which... let's put you up to 2. Snap you up. And this is where it's going to get kind of weird. I'm actually going to want to snap it. Let's see, it's 3 wide, so I actually want to go 1.5, and then it's 6 deep, I believe. Okay. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze its transformation here. And assuming that freeze transformation works the way I expect it to work, which I really hope it does. Hooray! Freeze transformation is common modeling talk for basically set all positions to 0. So wherever these things are, they will change their pivot to be 0 and say that they're at 0, 0. So now if I move this table around, you can see that it's actually, the pivot is there in the center. And that should keep things nice and easy. So let's go ahead and save that out. I guess we'll delete this. Let's hope that that doesn't break anything. Okay, that's interesting. So it doesn't break anything when you export it and you delete that export, which means that I probably could have actually overridden it too. Let's go to Tools. Is there an export thing over here? No, that's a shame. So let's go to Pro Builder, Export Asset. That's interesting. You can export binary and ASCII files for it. So it looks like I can at least export everything. I might want to experiment with like a batch file to export all of these guys as OBJs too. We'll see. All right. So, oh boy. So, oh, really? Oh, that's a shame. So rather than grouping it under one folder, it makes a new folder. If Pro Builder saved as, that already exists. Oh no, that's kind of gross. Because ideally what I would do is, I'd have a session of model making, and then I would have sort of subfolders here. So like I would say, create folder, castle. Why is my freaking castle table? And then I would drag these guys underneath that. So then I have sort of a castles table folder. And then, as I add more models, they would just keep adding their stuff to Pro Builder saved assets. And then I could just go through and regroup them and then move them all to their appropriate folder. But this looks like it just ignores the first folder and makes a new one. That's kind of unfortunate. Still, though, this is not the worst workflow ever. I think it's one that I'll just have to get used to. And I do wonder if there's ways to tweak this, actually. Because Procore does seem to be pretty good about letting you do all this stuff. Oh, wow, that's super nice now. Yeah, back when I first got ProGrids a long time ago, too, and it was kind of a little obtrusive. It had, like, its own... It wasn't this nice, like, utility. It was, like, its own sort of separate window, which was very annoying. All right. Well. That actually ended up going pretty well. So, I'm trying to think. It's only been 45 minutes, but I don't know what else I'm going to do tonight. I mean, I could do a bunch of substance-related stuff, and actually my backup plan was to start, like I said, messing with how the text input field works. Well, not the input field, but how the text display works. I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's go to text request, scenes, intro, castle. Come on. Work with me, castle. Okay. And let's go to game view, play. Probably want to maximize on play too, won't I? Yep. All right. So normally whenever you input text, so if you say like examine, you can see that it just sort of adds text one line at a time. And all we're really doing, if I say like insult, we pause and look at this menu. Let's go to scene view. Oh yeah, I forgot it's like super teeny tiny because that's what my. Well, that's not inconvenient at all. So good God, Pro Builder, and everything going on here. I wonder if I can hide everything else. Probably not. Well, we don't really need to see anything too super clearly, I guess. So the way this works, let's look at our view container, view input, root, output, scroll area. So we just have one label doing all of this. And what it does is, so you can see that we have an instructional painting by a renowned artist. It just wraps each sort of text input in a color tag, which is a rich text tag that lets us do the desired text color. And the reason that it's wrapped in a tag is after you beat the game for the first time, it lets you select a color. You can actually change the color of the text to be like green or pink or blue or red, yellow, depending on what you've done. You'll unlock different colors. And that will actually change how the UI looks in terms of the color layout. But what it does is it wraps everything in color, tags, spits out its message. So you have an instructional painting by a renowned artist, and then we have we have two new lines to create a space. You can see over there, and then we have the next line, and if no space was needed, it just goes immediately into a new line and starts putting in the output. So you can see that we have examine here. Then this painting was crafted by blah 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 blah. And as we keep going, it just keeps adding more and more. I might end up changing this to a slightly different sort of layout, because what this does is it's a single label that resizes its parent and creates a scrolling effect. I might do something similar, but instead of having one text object, it's actually going to be a vertical layout group, which is already set up for, obviously, with a bunch of these sort of objects in it. So a bunch of text labels and a bunch of, mostly text labels. And now you might be asking why I'm going to do that. And the reason is that 2 weeks ago, when I was in Ohio, I was talking with a friend of mine, another game developer, and he brought up the idea of having sort of a graphic pop up when you were reading stuff to make it look like you were reading a piece of paper or something like that. Now we briefly hashed back and forth about like ASCII art for that. And something that might be interesting to do, let me pull up Photoshop to show you. Oh, that's interesting. It tried to create an asset. What I mean. So let's go ahead and create a new 1024, not 1027, by 1024. Let's go up, make our background solid black. Come over here, solid white text, come up here. All right, so this is your normal input. Let's say you type read. Why does it look so blurry? I don't know. And then, of course, you would get an output that's freaking there. All the text is messed up. We'll say, like, the note says, "My king, blah, 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 sign your friend." I can't spell, apparently. Your friend. So let's say that that's the note. And let's for good measure just stick a couple of other things in there. Examine. The note is old. Insult. Tell the note that it is not noteworthy. All right. I said is not noteworthy. Bah. Oh, it's interesting. It was the same line. Whatever. All right. Let's get this working here. All right. So let's say that this is what it currently looks like. You know, you would just type everything in and it would pop up. What might be interesting to actually do is instead of saying that, read the note says blah, 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 my king and all that, we might end up doing something like this. I have no idea if this will look right or not, but this is what I was imagining. This is going to be so hard to do. Just the worst. I have to reposition that. Da, 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 da. Let's keep going. And then this. No, I guess it would be the other way. I'm trying to think of how like scrolls look. Like, this is kind of correct. It's like only in the most vague terms of scrolls. Might do something like that. Try to make it look different. Whatever. Okay. So let's put that here. Let's grab this. Okay. Do a new one. All right. So now we're set up. So it'd be interesting if it had something like this. So instead of just being the exact same thing for read, for example, it might actually have a little bit of a ASCII graphic for notes to make it look like it's a piece of paper or something. Just to make it look more interesting. And of course, opening this or doing this allows me to open up for more interesting text effects. Like I can have text, if it's spoken by a specific character, I can make that text do different things, like have it jumble a lot easier. It basically just makes the system a little bit more flexible and allows me to do some more interesting things. So I'm going to be messing around with that. We might end up doing that a little bit later in the week as I experiment with Procore and Polybrush and all of that on my own. It might be interesting to mess with this on the Devstream. Yeah, it might be cool. And obviously I need to start looking at ASCII art, because that's going to be a thing. Hooray. So, all right. I think that's going to be a good place to stop for the night. So, thank you all very much for watching. I know it was a bit of a short stream, but it's short and sweet. Should be back Thursday. And I will see you all next time.